This podcast is presented by the Prince George's County Memorial Library System.
Hi, I'm Hawa.
I'm Heather.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Darlene.
And this is our podcast, These Books Made Me. Today we have a very special guest with us for a very special episode. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what we'll be doing today?
I'm Kelsey, and I'm back. Woo! Thank you. And I am a fake Survivor superfan. Kind of Survivor superfan, but not like one of the real ones who knows every single episode minute by minute. But I'm back today to lead us in a very special These Books Made Me version of Survivor. I want to credit the podcast Potterless, which I shamelessly stole this idea from. But we thought it would be really important to do this because there's a Prince George's County resident on Survivor right now, and a Baltimorean, which represented my hometown right now. And so we thought this would be a good time to do this. So we'll be putting These Books Made Me characters going all the way back to season 1, episode 1 through the true Survivor experience. So how this is going to work, each week has been modeled very, very loosely. Superfans, don't come at me. After one episode of Survivor, I chose the episode by using a random number generator from 1 to 46, and then choosing the episode from the week we are on. So for example, the first round, my random number generator gave me number 41. So we'll be going back to Survivor season 41, week 1.
It's wild that there are 46 seasons.
There are 47 seasons now.
Wow.
Yes. And I did watch all 47 in the past, 46 and a half in the past 4 years. So
that's impressive.
project.
I think the wheels came off for me somewhere in the 20s and I lost steam.
It's very reasonable. It's very reasonable. All right. So for each round, there will be one immunity challenge and one vote off the island. We will use our knowledge of the players to decide who wins immunity and who is voted off.
The tribe has spoken.
And every few weeks, I have some bonus decisions and other kind of sidebars thrown in. First, let's start off with reminding you of some of the characters that we've had on TBMM before and letting you know who's going to be playing this game. So first off, we have Harriet M. Welsh. Harriet is an aspiring writer and quote unquote spy who loves to spread mean gossip about her friends in NYC and call it journalism. She's a big fan of lying.
And tomato sandwiches.
So next we have Katniss Everdeen, a survivor of multiple battles to the death, an accomplished archer, and a ruthless pragmatist until boys get involved.
All right, so next up we have Christy from Babysitters Club. Brash yet surprisingly insightful and a natural #girlboss. Christy Thomas is used to coordinating chaos and marching to her own drum and probably knows CPR.
And then we have Claudia from the Babysitters Club. She's super crafty and artistic, but has absolutely no filter and goes from 0 to I hate you in 6 seconds flat. She's a little boy crazy and could easily be distracted by a crush or join an alliance just because someone is cute.
I'm so excited I get to read this next one. Possibly one of our most unhinged characters, Kristen Larson. Her family packed up their entire home in Sweden and moved to the frontier in Minnesota, suffering loss and trauma along the way. So she's pretty tough. However, she once burned her own house down and looted a dead man's corpse. So she might be a wild card.
She has a solid immune system, so there's that.
Yes. She was apparently immune to cholera.
Now we have Addie Walker, also from American Girl. Addie has seen and lived through some real stuff. She's a quick learner and hella brave, though her shy personality may hinder her social game.
Next is Molly McIntyre. She did experience some tough stuff during World War II. Her dad was deployed, and she has to eat radishes, and one time she got a cold that made her miss her big tap solo. But there's definitely a lack of perspective here that might make her insufferable at the campsite.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was it radishes or was it turnips?
Turnips.
In her victory garden.
Sorry, not to be...
You're right.
Okay. Darling, can you do that one?
vegetables, but...
You said it was turnips?
Okay. Turnips.
All right, Molly McIntyre. She did experience some tough stuff during World War II. Her dad was deployed and she had to eat turnips, and one time she got a cold that made her miss her big tap solo. But there's definitely a lack of perspective here that might make her insufferable at the campsite.
All right, next up we have Samantha Parkington, a deeply misunderstood orphan who grew up quite wealthy. She demonstrates significant empathy for the poor and the feminist cause, but might not do well in any water sports.
Then we have Felicity Merriman, a rebellious tomboy hindered by her family's cultural norms, who won't mind getting a little messy, but she's also a little self-absorbed and kind of weird about horses, which aren't usually present in Survivor, so not very helpful to her at all.
Next, we have Josefina Montoya, a quiet, thoughtful, and deeply religious girl whose aspirations to be a healer and empathetic listening skills may make her invaluable to some of her teammates if her deep commitment to politeness and propriety doesn't get in her way.
Next, we have Cassie Logan, a playful, smart, and sometimes prankful girl. Cassie is not afraid to speak her mind, and she's almost always right. But that doesn't mean her tribe mates will like that very much. She once booby-trapped a road to wreck a bus, so don't underestimate her cunning or her prowess in physical challenges.
All right, next up is Anne of Green Gables, yet another orphan in the mix. Canadian Islander, Anne's love of imaginative play and bent toward drama might make her some friends and foes on the island. And if they spell her name wrong when they vote her out, all hell will break loose.
Next up, we have Tabitha Ruth Turtle Wexler. Cunning, clever, secretive, and practical, Turtle will be a pro at the puzzles and certainly will be at the helm of at least one or two blindsides along the way. If she can avoid making herself seem like a threat to her tribe mates, Turtle may go far.
Lastly, we have Nancy Drew, an intriguing blend of independent and bold, while also maintaining a lot of very traditional femininity. Nancy's enthusiasm may be a positive asset for her on the island, unless her tendency to insert herself into other people's problems starts to wear.
And I did notice that I talked a lot about several boy crazy characters. However, we have only women on our islands, but maybe they'll...
Well, there's Jeff.
And as for the losers, they will be taken and executed.
That's true. There is Jeff. Yes, Jeff will be in this fantasy universe, just to be very clear. So yeah, maybe that'll be.
I could easily see Claudia falling for Jeff.
I actually 100%.
It will be weird and uncomfortable for everyone else, but I could see it happening.
Yeah, she'll probably be one of those who like immediately gets off the boat and hugs him and he doesn't know what to do about it. Okay, so are we ready for week one?
Yes.
Okay, so week one, as I already said, is based on Survivor 41. Our contestants arrived to scenic Fiji, where all Survivor games have taken place for the last 20 years because Jeff Probst got tired of moving. They arrived to scenic Fiji via boats. They have already been divided into two tribes, Pleasant and Mattel, and they are sent to separate camps with only a machete, a pot, and flint. They will be asked to harvest their own food on the island, and they may win rice in the future, but that's unclear. So we have two tribes here. We have Pleasant, which has Nancy, Anne, Josefina, Molly, Kirsten, Christy, and Turtle. And then we have Mattel, which has Harriet, Cassie, Felicity, Samantha, Claudia, Addie, and Katniss. So just initial thoughts here. Where do you think there might be some tensions between characters? How do we think things are going to play out? Does one look stronger than the other initially?
I feel like for Pleasant, I see a lot of like organized and like
bossy.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking more so like they would do well, but you're right. There might be some tensions.
I think there's going to be friction with Molly. I think everyone on that team, except maybe Josefina, is going to get sick of Molly real quick.
Yep. I think Christy and Turtle are going to come to blows.
I think they will too. I also think that Kirsten may do something clumsy, klutzy that bothers everybody. Like I could see her losing the flint.
Yeah, that does happen.
That seems to track with her general life pattern, which is like have the worst possible thing happen to you at any moment, but it's kind of your fault.
But Nancy always gets out of things, so maybe her like positive luck will.
She and Turtle are very cunning, so you know they might be able to salvage it. But yeah, the other team seems like there's maybe less personality conflicts, though I don't think anybody's going to like Harriet too much.
Yeah.
Molly's already complaining about the food.
Claudia 100% is going to go off on Harriet before the end of the first day.
Yeah, that's not going to go over well.
Would Claudia and Katniss get along?
I mean, Katniss just does her own thing.
That's true.
She doesn't really have girlfriends. So I think she's just along for the ride, to be honest.
Yeah, which can not go well if you're a loner. People don't like that.
Okay, but do we feel like she's gonna maybe possibly like adopt the little sister along the way, like maybe her own version of Rue or her own version
will
of
be
her
Cassie.
own sister? Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Or
too.
Addie.
Because they're much, yeah.
Maybe Addie, because Addie, I think, is, yeah, I could see that. Cassie's a little bit more assertive, but I could see Addie like glomming on to Katniss. But that side, there's not as much drama there. I think most of those are a little bit lower drama personalities, except for Harriet. And I think they're going to just want to get rid of Harriet very fast.
Do you think Claudia and Harriet might bond over like both liking to like be secretive and like stash things away or like hide to be spies? No,
because Claudia's hiding food and Harriet hates food.
You know, if Claudia tries to hide food on the island, she's going to get in trouble.
She's going to get booted off. Yeah. That's going to be a
problem.
Definite danger zone for Claudia.
Yeah.
Do you think Harriet has her notebook? Are you allowed to bring any?
You can bring one
belongings with
personal
you?
item.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Harriet 100% brought her notebook with her.
Yeah.
But then, are we including something for her to write with?
I think they would be generous and allow.
Okay.
Maybe
Allow
the
that.
notebook and pencil counts as
Yes.
one item.
How's she going to, I don't know how she's going to protect it from the elements, but that's her own problem to
Yeah.
figure out.
Maybe it's one of those waterproof ones.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So we have our first immunity challenge for the week. So this is a classic like obstacle course challenge. So in this challenge, each tribe must climb over a net frame, then crawl under an obstacle filled with sawdust. They have to load bags of puzzle pieces onto a sled. 2 members at a time will move heavy sandbags off a track and onto a platform. And once the track is clear, they push their sled down the track to the end, transfer their puzzle bags into a crate, and then hoist the crate on top of a tower. And then once at the top, 2 members must use the pieces in the bag to solve a puzzle. The first tribe to finish their puzzle wins. So we have some like dexterity, then we have like a muscle
Strength.
piece, and then we have the brains at the end. So
You said this was from season 46?
41.
Okay. Well, they must be recycling some challenges.
Yeah.
Okay.
They use all the same pieces in just different orders.
Cool.
So what do we think? Which tribe is going to do better at this challenge, do we think?
I mean, Katniss and Addie are going to be awesome at the physical part of the obstacle course because we've seen them do this before.
Right.
They're really the only characters that we have a real clear sense of their athletic abilities.
Josefina, because remember, she
that's
ran
true.
all the way back for her
I forgot
friend.
about Josefina's,
She's-
plot lines.
She is very
Yeah.
accustomed to being outdoors and doing rigorous things and running for miles. So I think Josefina will be okay.
Does
Kirsten's
Nancy
kinda
play
sporty.
tennis?
Oh,
Oh, Nancy
Does she?
is sporty. You're right.
Felicity has climbed up and down things and ridden horses.
Yeah, she climbed on the roof.
Yeah.
She's a good horseback rider.
who's going to do the puzzle for each team?
Well,
I feel like Turtle.
Yeah, Pleasant is
Yeah.
going to be Turtle for sure.
Maybe Harriet for Mattel?
Probably.
But she'll mess it up
She's
and it'll
totally
be
gonna
drama,
mess it up.
I feel like.
She's probably going to assert how well she feels like she could do it,
Yeah.
though. And then they're going to be like, yeah, we're never putting faith in you again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go.
So Mattel will like dominate in terms of the physical thing or like the physical aspect, but then like fail in the
At
end.
the puzzle. Yep. I mean, I could see Felicity and Cassie trying to like help with the puzzle and being kind of good at it because Felicity had that weird like scavenger hunt to the bleeding person that she had to
Yes,
do.
that's right.
What?
I'm forgetting.
It was like
Her boyfriend,
a note.
Ben, I
right.
think
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but he was bleeding in the woods, and then he left clues, and like she had to scavenger hunt to him, and she did good at that. She found him, and Cassie just seems like the sharpest tack out of that side of the board to me. I
Yeah.
think she's very smart. So
Especially for her age.
yeah, she's very precocious. So I think both of them would be good at the puzzle, but I think Harriet's so bossy that she's going to try to do it all herself, and then they'll hate her when
Yeah.
she fails.
So do we think Pleasant is going to win?
Yeah,
Okay. So
I
Pleasant.
do.
Because that puzzle's going to be what keeps Mattel back.
Because Christy's sporty too. Josefina has some chops. Anne is remarked on multiple times as being wiry, strong. And she has good like agility and dexterity because she did make it most of the way across the ridge pole of the roof before she fell off.
And she watched all those children. Like that takes,
And she does farm work.
yeah.
Like, yeah. she's sturdy.
And Harriet's not going to deliver on the puzzle.
Yeah.
And Turtle's really good at kicking things. So I think they'll be okay.
All right. So we are saying Pleasant Tribe's going to win immunity.
Mhm.
Mattel's going to lose. We get back to camp after the loss. On both tribes, there's a frantic scramble for immunity idols. However, no one finds one.
If I could find that idol, then that would be genius. In history of Survivor, how many people found the idol without a clue?
So we're going to our first tribal council. Mattel is going to tribal council. Who do we think is going to get voted out?
My money's on Harriet, because I think what she's going to try to do is play the social game and go to like each of these people and be like, I heard Samantha tell Felicity that you were blah, blah, blah. But it'll all just be made up. And then
But do you think
someone's
that
going to figure it out.
Okay. I was going to say, do you think the rest of them are like direct enough to confront like whoever?
Oh, Claudia would. I think Claudia 100% is going to be like, Addie told me that you said that Katniss did this, and like lose it on her. Because Claudia has real anger management problems.
But do you think people will not like that and then be mad at Claudia?
No, I think they'll still be mad at Harriet because she just lost the challenge for them.
And I think that if Harriet had spoken to all of them, then they would see the truth in what Claudia is feeling and be like, yeah, no, I feel why she's that way. We need to get rid of her now before she causes more problems down the line.
Yeah. Like, I actually think the biggest danger for Claudia would be related to food. Like, if they have food, I could see her like sneaking food, like more than her share. But I think because they have Katniss on that team and she's like great at hunting and foraging and trapping and stuff, she's going to get them enough food to be fine. So I think food will be less of an issue over here. So Claudia may be safer because of that, because they're not going to be starving right out of the gate.
All right. So are we saying Harriet?
I think Harriet's a goner.
First person voted off the island.
Harriet's out.
Harriet's own friends didn't even like her.
That's so true.
Like, strangers definitely won't.
The first, these books made me character, the first out.
Yeah.
Tribe has spoken.
So this week is based on Survivor 46. The challenge is for a reward of a fishing kit and immunity for a tribe. So in this challenge, one tribe member will use a machete to cut a rope, which releases 2 wheels, which the tribe will then have to attach to a wagon. They then push the wagon to a sand pit where they will dig up 2 chests and load the chests onto the wagon. They will then clear a zigzag path and push the wagon through the path to a finish line. There they will, again, use the puzzle pieces in the chest to build an arch-shaped word puzzle. The first tribe to spell persistence and return to their mat with their arch intact wins. Who do we think is going to dominate this time around?
I mean, this is kind of Kirsten's wheelhouse. Like, she went in a wagon across the U.S. Like, if anybody's going to know how to wagon, it's going to be her, right?
Did Cassie not also have a wagon?
No.
No, I'm just making things up.
I don't think she did. She booby trapped the bus.
Oh, see, when I saw wagon, I was thinking like a little pull wagon.
No, it's a big wagon, right?
Oh, I knew
like
that.
it's enough to pull 2 chests, which also Kirsten had a chest.
It's true. She knows a lot about chests and finding them in treacherous situations.
If there's a corpse involved with the chest, Kirsten's got this.
You know, if we were using that logic, though, she would have dominated the last one, too, because she also had a sled. So clearly didn't entirely work for her.
No, because they won the last one.
That's true. Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
Kirsten's got some hidden skills for this game, I think.
My question is, we were worried about Pleasant Tribe having too many dominating personalities. And if they have to all communicate and agree on how they're going to move this wagon around through the course, are they going to be able to do that effectively? Or is it going to be too many cooks?
I think it's going to be too many cooks. And especially because I think right now, like they've already, and then they also have an additional member that Mattel doesn't have. I feel like sometimes it's easier to communicate in smaller groups, right? And I feel like somebody from Mattel, maybe Katniss is probably going to rise, or maybe Samantha will rise to the top and be like, okay, guys, this is how we need to get things in order and just get it done. And also, I think the whole cutting the machete with a rope, I feel like Katniss would be really good at that for some reason. Yeah.
No, I think for the like strength parts of this, Katniss has got it, and probably Cassie too. And Addie, honestly. Addie would be a strong girl. Like she's done a lot. So I think they have some strength on that team. My question on Pleasant, though, is that if we're taking this as the characters are the age that they were like in the beginning of their books that we read, because Anne's tough because she ages up a bit through the book. Nancy's significantly older than the other girls. Like most of them are like 10 to 12. Even some of them are 9 at the beginning of the American Girl books. But you have some younger kids and then Nancy, who's like an older teen. Is she going to be the natural leader just by virtue of being significantly older than everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does she have some gravitas that they're just going to be like, yes, Nancy's in charge?
Yeah, I was wondering about the age gaps and how that would affect. Because, I mean, on Survivor, obviously you have age gaps there too, but they're all adults.
Yeah.
So they've reached a certain level of physical maturity that these kids have not necessarily.
I mean, of that group, Turtle and Christy would be the ones who challenge her.
Yeah, I don't think Christy is going to lay down and take that.
No, like Anne, I think will go along with stuff as long as Nancy's making sound decisions. I think Christy and Turtle might get their hackles up just having someone else boss them around.
You don't think Christy will like...
She is team oriented.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I was also going to say like that she wouldn't like revere Nancy a little bit.
She might. I mean, Nancy does own her own business and operate it quite successfully. So
That's true, but Nancy's also super feminine in a way that I don't think Christy would know how to relate to.
would that come across though? I mean, because I feel like when on Nancy's end for that, that's usually coming across in like her style and her fashion. She's not going to have any of that here. She's wearing a buff and...
It depends on which season it was when they arrived. If they are made to wear their like photo shoot, they used to like make them arrive in their photo shoot clothes and then just be like suffering in like corporate blazers and skirts. Now they can kind of pick what they want.
I'm going to say that there's a hidden danger from the Mattel side here because spelling persistence, we have Claudia is dyslexic.
No, I was going to say
Abby
which
is only just learning to read.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about the spelling
Samantha and
aspect.
Felicity are both like 9. Cassie's also like 9.
Was any of them ever in a spelling bee?
What?
Were any of them ever in a
Addie.
spelling bee?
Addie.
Yeah,
Oh,
but she was
didn't
spelling
do-
much smaller words. than
Yeah.
her sister.
And you know that Katniss is going to do the strength part and not the puzzle part.
Yeah.
Because they probably don't know that it's a word until they get there.
Well, and also Katniss's education was like weird because it's just about coal.
Yeah.
So are we just assuming that so basically, like, we know that they have to spell persistence, so we don't know if they actually know how to spell persistence, right?
Well, Anne for sure will. Anne's a like crack speller.
Chrysanthemum. CHRYSANTHEMUM.
Correct.
I mean, that's a whole thing in the book where they have the spelling bee and Prissy can't spell anything right. And then she and Gilbert are like in a spell off and she beats him.
And we know that Anne would make sure to put that E in there. Instead
Absolutely.
Of an A.
Well, they already have all the letters and they just have to put them in the right order?
Well, yeah. And it's like a puzzle. So the
Okay.
pieces have to fit together too.
Okay.
And it's like an
Oh.
arch. So it has to like, it's like there's gravity involved also.
Yeah, I'm going Pleasant
Stupid
Tribe
gravity.
again. I don't think Mattel's gonna
Figure that out.
no.
Okay. So Pleasant Tribe is going to win.
Oh.
Mattel's
Looking
got
rough
another
for
defeat on their
Mattel.
hands.
That happens sometimes in Survivor. Sometimes
Wait,
you
how
have the
long-
bad tribe.
How old are Felicity and Samantha?
9 or 10 by the end of the 6 that we read. They're just babies. And Cassie's about that too.
Yeah,
She's
she's
like
nine.
11. Oh, is she 9?
I think
Yeah.
she's 9, yeah.
I
At least
think
in
so
that
as
first in
well.
the book. Yeah.
We're not going to get into the ethics of like casting away children
Well,
on an
maybe
island.
Samantha
That's a
will. You
different
know,
question.
she gave her rousing child labor speech.
That's
So
true.
maybe she's going to stand
yeah.
up at Tribal and be like, Jeff, this is outrageous. These
I
are
disagree
children.
with the whole concept.
She's going to take a moral stand.
Okay, so we have a hidden immunity. So we're going back to camp, and a contestant. We find out that a contestant in the losing tribe has the opportunity to find a hidden immunity idol.
It's a new beginning. Jeff said the immunity idol is back in the game, and I'll be here looking for it, and I will find it.
So there is a clue to the location of the idol that is, let's say it's in one of the bags that they pick up. Going back to camp, they find it's buried. So one of the contestants finds it. It has to, and then they have to get to, it leads them to a clue which has to be found tucked between the limbs of a random tree. Do we think anybody is going to notice the clue hidden among their stuff? And if so, who do we think is going to see it? And this is with the losing tribe. So Mattel, Cassie, Felicity, Samantha, Claudia, Addie, or Katniss.
Katniss is super observant because of her hunting. So, like, I think she's very likely to notice anything that's out of place, added, unusual.
Okay.
And Samantha likes to watch ants on the ground.
That's true. All right. So maybe Katniss finds this clue.
Yeah. I mean, if it was a little bit more hidden and not something that's that close to their campsite, I would say Felicity has a good chance because we know she's good at scavenger hunts. But yeah, if it's that close, I think Katniss is going to find it like that.
Okay. Do we think that Katniss is going to tell anyone that she found this clue?
No.
I think that Katniss is one of those people who, like, yeah, she's technically on a team, but I feel like she's probably still feels
She's
very
a
like an
lone wolf.
individual.
Yep.
Yeah. Lone wolf. Mm-hmm.
I agree. All right. So the clue says the idol is buried 20 paces north from the tribe flag, which means it's very public. So she's going to have to strategically try to...
She's stealthy.
Find it.
So I look in the tree, I look up, I almost passed out. I seen it sitting there. So I reached up there, yanked it down, got it loose, put it in my underwear, turned around, just walked off.
We know she's stealthy. She does it all the time. And she's got those good camouflage painting skills from PETA, so she can just full on disappear if she needs to.
But did she learn them from PETA?
She did, because remember at the beginning where they're going to, maybe that was in Catching Fire. When they go to the different stations to practice things, it was Catching Fire. But they spend like all of their time with the two like morphling addicts at like painting each other at the stations. I think she has skills for that.
Okay. So we think that maybe in the dead of night, one night, she's gotten up and gone to this site and dug up the idol. So Katniss has an idol?
Yes.
Okay. Let me mark that. All right. So our losing tribe is going to tribal council. Important note, Katniss's idol can only be played up to the final 5. All right. So we're at final tribal.
Sorry, what does that mean?
So every tribal council, at least one person will be voted out. Katniss can play her idol up until there's 5 people left. After that, she cannot play it.
So she doesn't have to use it this go around.
She does not have to use it now.
She can hang on to it till she thinks she needs it.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't think she's going to need it this time around because she's really carrying this team at this point.
Just as an aside, the decision of when to use your idol is like a very difficult decision in Survivor, and a lot of time people go home with their idol in their pocket because they're too cocky and they think, oh, if I just save it, because they want to have that like moment where like they held it all the way to the end, they didn't even need it, they had it but they didn't need it, and people get too confident and then they go home. So
wow,
it happens a lot, especially 46. So all right, so we don't think Katniss is going to play it. Who's getting voted out this time?
Claudia.
I'm wondering about Felicity and Samantha.
I was wondering about Felicity also.
I could see Samantha. I think Felicity is still useful to this group.
They're still maybe focusing on like strength or
like
physical.
Felicity can do things that might help
survival
them.
skills.
Like she can do I could see her kind of watching Katniss and following her lead because she has some physical ability. Like she's a good climber. She's pretty fast. She's got a little bit of physical skills.
You know, like nunchuck skills, bow hunting skills, computer hacking skills.
And I don't know that we're going to see any of that from Samantha so far.
Also, Felicity grew up without like electricity.
Yeah.
So she knows how to like start a fire and stuff.
Yeah. And Samantha grew up with lots of servants.
Yes.
So she didn't have to do anything.
And I can just see her being really quiet, which people just kind of are like, meh.
But I think Claudia's not bringing many skills to the table either. I mean, she's not particularly athletic.
But she's crafty. That could
they
come in handy.
haven't really had anything where that's a useful skill, though.
But they maybe have picked that up. Well, they haven't had anything yet, but it could come in and they could see that. And like, you know, because Claudia, I feel like you can look at her and tell that she's crafty. So like they probably, do they have bunks or something? I don't know. Where do they sleep? Do they just sleep outside?
On the floor.
On the floor? Well, she probably has like went out and like somehow find a way to like deck out her spot on the floor or something.
Do you
I don't
think
know.
she would? I feel like she would just complain a lot. Like she complains a lot in the books about things, and
That's
she
true.
takes offense to everything. Like I feel like she's going to be getting short with people. All right. And she's hungry probably.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because there's not going to be any fast food or Oreos or gummy bears or anything. So she's eating fish and things she probably doesn't want to eat.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be hangry and start to get on everyone's nerves.
And they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to vote you off just so we don't have to hear you complain anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I could see Samantha too. I think it's one of them.
It gets tricky though, because sometimes early
wanna
on, the
keep
wild
the bad
card
people.
that you think is going to, like, even right now in 47, there's a person who very clearly should have been voted off they just carry on for so long. So,
Well, the other thing is on this team, are they going, see, but again, they're so young other than Katniss. I feel like they're not going to have the savvy for this at this point to see who the threats are versus who's not a threat, because sometimes you carry the dead weight because you know that they're not going to get votes in the end.
yeah, maybe
And
they're
Claudia
just
will
going to be
not
too
get votes
literal.
because she's going to like bother everybody. So maybe Samantha goes.
But also, how old is Claudia? Because I was going to say maybe Claudia sticks around and it's like the sort of like babysitter for like the younger kids.
I don't know. I think she's more likable than
Not
with our
babysitter for the
adult
younger
eyes, we
kids.
think.
Maybe so. I mean, she is popular at school, and I'm not seeing a lot of that from the other folks in this group. Cassie has a strong personality. And if we're saying Cassie and Katniss bond, I could see them getting rid of Samantha just because they feel like Claudia won't be a threat to them physically down the road.
Also, does Samantha need what do you win at the end of Survivor?
$1 million.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like they would be like, she's not in need of this money. Like,
It depends on if Samantha's revealed that or not. Because sometimes people lie. But I don't know if Samantha would lie.
I don't think
I don't think she would.
would it just naturally come out and they're like, what can you do? And she's like, nothing.
My servants do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we think Samantha's.
I think Samantha's a goner.
Okay. Mattel Tribe is not looking good.
Nope.
Okay.
All right, y'all need to come back. I was believing in y'all.
Yeah, I felt good about them, but apparently not. All right, so we're moving into week 3. This is based on Survivor 24, the universally reviled One World. The challenge this week is for a canoe, which is an exciting prize, especially if you already have fishing equipment like our friends in the Pleasant Tribe, and for immunity. In this challenge, they're going to be blindfolding pairs of tribe mates to get to different stations scattered on an obstacle course. So one person's going to be the caller who will yell out instructions and directions to the other pairs. When a pair reaches a station, they must pull a handle to an overhead bucket of water to release a bag of puzzle pieces. As always, there will be a puzzle to do at the end with their blindfolds off. So first piece, instructing people around. Who do we think is going to give the clearest and loudest directions? And then second piece, who's going to solve the puzzle efficiently?
Well, I think Claudia is going to appoint herself as the caller for Mattel.
You think so? Because she's loud?
I do. And I think that they'll be okay with that because it's not like she's really bringing other skills to the table. And since it's a like solve the puzzle at the end, if it's puzzle pieces, Claudia probably would be the best at that because she's very visual and spatial. So she's the caller for Mattel, I think.
I think Christy is really going to want to do it because she prides herself on her loud voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could see them going along with that. Turtle will be bitter about it, but she'll get on board, I think.
I think that sounds good.
Christy's going to call, Claudia's going to call, and then they have to solve a puzzle at the end. So who do we think is going to do that better?
Ooh.
I could see Mattel winning this one because if they're in partners, but like I can see partnership Cassie and Katniss and Felicity and Addie. I don't think they're going to like really step on each other's toes. I think they could actually work collaboratively. On the Pleasant side, Kirsten's kind of a dummy, y'all.
You big dummy.
I feel like she's going to get mixed up and go right when Christy says left, and then they're going to get mad at her. Turtle is likely to get so annoyed with her partner that she kicks them. Molly is not great at life. So I don't
Not great at life.
So I feel like she might get hurt or something. I don't know. I think Pleasant could struggle on this one.
I
They
could
don't
see
have
that.
to use everyone, right, Kelsey?
So,
because
yeah, usually
it
they
has
would
to even out the.
Yeah, usually 2 of them would sit out.
Okay, well, they're for sure going to make Molly sit out.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
then her feelings will be hurt. If they're smart, they'll make Kirsten sit out.
She did get lost in the snow for a long time, so I don't know if directions are going to be her forte.
Nope. I like Mattel's chances in this challenge.
Me too. I think that this is the one that's going to really like allow them to
It's their time to shine.
Yes,
Yeah. I mean, they haven't won anything yet, so they're probably hungry. They and sleeping on like hard ground because they haven't gotten the construction kit. So they probably are feeling a little like we need to win something here. So that might boost them.
Yeah.
All right. So Mattel's going to win. That means Pleasant has their first loss. So since a new tribe has won, same thing, hidden immunity idol clue is going to be hidden amongst their stuff when they get back to camp.
While they meditating, getting ready for the challenge, I guess that's what they were meditating for. I'm looking for the hidden immunity idol.
Do we think someone is going to find this clue among the Pleasant folks?
Turtle will stay up all night looking for it.
So,
I mean, she's not going to let go of that easily. That is her thing.
But Nancy will just stumble across it because
Well, that's possible too. It falls out of a tree and hits Nancy in the head.
Yeah, I think Turtle, if she observes that there's a clue to be found, once she gets it, she will get it. But the question is, who's going to observe the clue? Which might be
Josefina.
Nancy. Josefina?
I think Josefina is the most observant of that group. I think Josefina is a real sleeper in this one, y'all. She has some skills. She's not going to like irritate anybody because she's super nice.
She might make it. I think she's going to make it far, actually.
I think she will too.
Josefina finds it. Now, is she going to successfully? It's the same clue, so she has to get it in front of kind of in a public place. Do we think she's going to be able to do that quietly?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's sneaky.
She's a little mouse.
All right. So Josefina,
no one's ever going to know she has.
And yeah, is she going to tell anyone?
She's certainly not going to tell anybody. She barely talks to people.
All right. So we have 2 secret idols, which I'll be honest, guys, is rare. Usually someone spills the beans whether they want to or not. But all right. So we have 2 idols no one knows about. We're going to tribal council with Pleasant.
Will the guilt?
I don't know.
Will the guilt force Josefina to say something?
Oh, I could totally see Josefina giving the idol to someone she cared about if she thought that person was in danger. I just don't know who that's going to be yet.
Between Molly and Kirsten?
No, I don't think she's...
No American Girl alliances?
I don't think so.
Do we think there are any alliances forming?
Men is in play. It's like the Black Widow Brigade.
We talked about on Mattel possible some alliances.
Yes, Mattel. I like the Katniss and Addie or Katniss and Cassie bond. I think it would be Addie. I think Katniss could feel really maternal because I think Addie would remind her more of Prim than Cassie would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think Prim, Addie and Prim are probably a little more
similar.
Yeah.
On the other side,
I feel like Nancy and Anne have really similar personalities.
Yeah.
Would that work in their favor?
Anne will think Nancy's so pretty. And that is a huge criteria for Anne for how much she likes somebody.
Yeah. Their
she's
hair.
going to be like, your hair is so pretty. That's the color I wanted my hair to be. Yeah. And Nancy will eat that up.
But which Nancy? She's seeing the redhead or the
redheaded
blonde?
Nancy or the blonde Nancy.
I do think Nancy is strategic and would have an alliance.
I think she is too.
And this is the time when it would form because when they're winning, they're not thinking about it.
I could see Turtle trying to make an alliance and then kind of botching it a bit. And that's basically what she did in her book. I don't see anyone in this group. Maybe Josefina.
I feel like Christy will reach out to Molly and Kristen as I feel like you guys are in danger. Do you know?
She's going to try to babysit them.
To try to be the sort of boss.
That could make for an interesting vote then, because to me on that list, Molly's the obvious person that people are going to get annoyed with. Mm-hmm. But if we're saying Christy has a little sub-alliance with Kirsten and Molly, then she's probably safe. Because Turtle's going to wild card. Josefina's kind of on her own. And
she might end up with Nancy and Anne.
Vote the same. So it's whether we think Nancy and Anne can convince either Josefina or Turtle onto their side.
And then the other one goes?
They could.
Who do we think?
Well, no, but I also feel like just because Christy formed an alliance with Kristen and Molly doesn't necessarily mean they're safe.
But it's by vote. If Molly has for sure 3 people who are not voting for her, and my guess is they'd vote for Turtle because Christy's not going to get along with Turtle at all.
There's going to be some power struggle there.
So then if Nancy and Anne can be talked into also voting for Turtle, or Josefina can be talked into voting for Turtle. Turtle's a goner. She won't have the votes to counter
You don't
it.
think Nancy and Anne would already automatically want to be getting rid of Molly? And so that's already 2 guaranteed votes, and they just have to get Josefina and Turtle?
Yeah, so
It's
then
going to be
it's
close.
Is which side do we think? So Josefina's then the wild card. Do we think that Christy would be more convincing to Josefina or Nancy?
I think Josefina's going to want everyone to get along. So the question is, who do we think is worse for the group dynamic?
Probably Turtle.
Yeah.
It's worse
than Molly.
I think she's very brash and bossy.
Molly at least had friends.
But it also depends on who's been helping them the most win in the past.
Well, yes, but that person could also be viewed as a threat. Like they're the stronger team.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose Turtle, Nancy and Anne are both very sharp and probably like their chances at solving puzzles.
Oh, I see.
Christy also likes her chances at solving puzzles. So I could see them wanting to get rid of Turtle because she's more of a threat to get immunity. She's more of a threat to like...
Yeah, and if Josefina's a swing vote, she may not care as much about winning. Obviously she'll want to win challenges, but she may feel it's more important to like have a peaceful camp experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Turtle's getting voted off.
Bye.
I really thought Turtle was going to win, so this is a surprise. But
I mean,
also
I think
not a
Turtle
surprise.
really needed to find that immunity.
Yeah.
Like that was, I think Turtle's path to success was getting an idol.
But I also think Turtle might be too confident to have played it then anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so we're down to 6 and 5.
Turtle's totally going to give a like, I hate all of you speech. She's voted off.
Oh yeah, I haven't been asking, but how do we think Turtle's going to react?
The tribe has spoken.
Oh, she's big mad. But she won't make jury even, right?
Yeah, not even jury.
What is jury?
So after we get down to the final, how did I set this up? The final 7? But at some point, they start, usually after the tribes merge, when you vote people off, they make it onto the jury. And the jury is the group that actually votes for who should win the money. So you have to have kind of a dual strategy, because on the one hand, you have to vote people off for your competition. But on the other hand, do it in such a way that they don't hate you so that they will give you money at the end.
Or that they hate you enough that they respect
yes.
you for it. Like, they don't like you as a human being, but they
understand
respect
it was the game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So strategic to vote Turtle out then, because it doesn't seem like she would take it any other way. Like she would take it positively.
I mean, Turtle, I think on the jury would actually be good for a person that's kind of ruthless, because I think she would
respect
begrudgingly admit that person had played well. And then she would go for that rather than a Josefina who slid under the radar kind of person.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, she's gone anyway. So
usually it is your people's goal, if not to win, to at least make the jury. So usually people are very sad if they get voted out before they make the jury.
I think Turtle's livid about not making the jury.
I think that would be her goal. All right, we are into week 4. This is based on Survivor 22 Redemption Island, which was kind of a weird aside they did where they let people who got voted off fight to the death to come back. Not actually to the death, but that was the vibe. We're not going to have that in this because that would be too much of an aside. But our challenge this time is for a reward of a barbecue feast and also for immunity. I can already see Claudia in particular really being motivated for this. Maybe Molly as well. So for this challenge, both tribes will make their way over a balance beam, where they will then use a crowbar to open a crate and retrieve a shovel. The shovel will then be used to dig to find an axe. The axe will be used to chop a log that will release a rope holding 2 saws. The saws will be used to cut through a wall, releasing planks. The planks will be used to complete a ramp that will get the entire tribe to the top of a platform, where they must hammer 3 nails to break 3 tiles. The final step is to put the toolbox containing all the tools used in the challenge on top of the table on the platform. First tribe to complete all tasks would win the challenge. So
Cassie's family had land, right? And there were probably tools and things around and shovels and things. I could be reaching, but I don't know. I feel like she would be good at that.
Yeah, I'm liking Mattel for this one.
Yeah.
I think Katniss has plenty of skills in this sort
Katniss
of
will be good at anything.
arena. I think Cassie's bringing some strength to it. I think Addie's bringing some strength to it. And really, Claudia would be the only one that might be not as great at following directions. Like, if they listen to Katniss, and at this point, I don't really see that they wouldn't, because Claudia is not going to be particularly great at this. I like their chances.
Yeah. The other question is, often in these challenges, the balance beam is what really slows a lot of groups down. And
but Katniss will be awesome at that.
Yeah. I could see everyone on that tribe being good at balancing.
Molly's going to fall off.
Yeah.
They better not send Molly to do any of this.
I feel like Christy's not a balancer. I don't think that's
Anne
gonna
is
be
a
her
good
skill.
balancer because she was able to walk a good portion of the ridge pole of a roof
The
and
roof, yeah.
some picket fences.
Until she fell off.
Yeah.
I feel like Nancy could probably be good at the balance beam.
She's probably had like dance lessons or
Yeah.
something. And Josefina is a good dancer. We did hear about that in her book.
I mean, I can tell you that dancers are one of the klutziest group of people that exist. My personal experience.
Oh.
They're only graceful in the studio or on the stage. Well, actually, no, when they're concentrating, so they might be fine.
Yeah, I mean, some of this is like brute strength stuff, though. Prying open a crate, digging up the axe. Yeah, I like Mattel on this one. This one is more of a physical challenge, and I think they have the stronger physical team at this point.
Like, Claudia is an artist, so she's not unused to using tools, even though I think she's
that's
more of
true.
a painter, but she's probably dabbled in some other things.
Okay. So we've got Mattel winning this one, which means Pleasant is going to tribal council. We already got our, both immunity idols have been found.
Oh, so it's only one per team.
Wait, do all of them have to make it over the balance beam or just one of them to go
All of
retrieve
them.
it? Oh, well, that really, I think Pleasant Company's got some injuries now.
Are they might be wounded. Yeah.
I think we've got some injuries.
Okay.
Molly, for sure.
Heather's like, we're going to let that just slide by that.
That is important to note because that will hinder future challenges.
Anne is also somewhat injury prone. Like, she has some accidents in her books too.
Do we think Kirsten managed to fall onto a nest of winged stinging insects?
Hello, bees. Hello, bees. Please come over here and let me say hello. Hello, bees. I just want some honey.
I feel like Kirsten went completely the wrong direction and they're just like trying to get her back to the like obstacle course or something.
I feel like what Kirsten would do is she probably sawed something really well, but then left the saw behind. And then they got to the end.
Totally.
And she had to go all the way back down and get it. And
Yeah.
that's what killed him.
Molly just repeatedly fell off of the balance beam. I feel like at this point, Molly has broken her glasses and now is like horribly vision impaired and is having issues from that as well.
Where in the books do we have evidence that Molly is klutzy, though? Like, she's certainly a flailer in like a metaphorical sense, but nowhere. But Molly has dance
whole
training
thing at the camp.
Sure, but ineffective isn't necessarily klutzy.
But it is when you can't see. I mean, they make such a like point of her vision being so horrible and that like she can't do things without her glasses.
Does she have her glasses with her?
Well, she would have to start, but like, well, that'd be the other thing is Turtle probably would have stolen her glasses just to be a jerk.
She could go full Russell Hantz and just like, I bet Turtle would have been the Russell Hantz of this, which I know you don't all know.
100% is the Russell
Hantz,
of
but
this
yeah.
group.
They can be my little puppets. They'll run when I tell them to run. They'll walk when I tell them to walk. When I'm finished with them, just throw them in the trash.
Like anything she can do to sabotage.
Yep.
Okay, so
Who
we
doesn't
think
have the stamina?
Who?
Would Molly have stamina?
That's what I think is going to be her issue. She's going to get halfway through and be like, I'm tired. All right. So we think Mattel won that challenge.
I think so.
Okay. So we go to tribal council. Pleasant is going to tribal council. Remember, Josefina has an idol, does not have to use it right now. Do we think that she does?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it depends on who potentially is being voted out or who she senses is getting voted out and whether she thinks positively of them and wants to save them. If we are saying that Christy, Kirsten, and Molly have an alliance and they're going to choose one person, like either Anne or Nancy, would Josefina use it to save them? And also, what would happen if Nancy and Anne convince Josefina to choose one person on the other and it's like
And it's a tie.
Then they either re-vote with those two people, and then if that doesn't work, they draw rocks and it's random.
Yeah.
We could go to rocks. I didn't write that in, but it's funny.
I think Christy and Nancy are both going to be lobbying Josefina hard to join their alliance, and she's going to be deeply uncomfortable. But I don't really think she's in danger, though. I don't know. Who do we think Christy's going to want to vote out? Because I think Kirsten and Molly are just going to do whatever Christy says. Now, if Nancy is smart, she's going to go to Molly and try to flip her, because I think Molly could easily be flipped if you flattered her enough.
I think Christy and Nancy are going to have tension now the turtle's gone.
Oh, I think so too.
So I think Christy might be lobbying for Nancy.
So do we think Molly could be flipped because Nancy's older and cooler and flatters her? Or do you think she's in for the long haul with Christy?
Did we say that she's not perceptive? So is she going to know that she's in danger, or that she's not really because if she feels like her time in this game is going to be over if she's no longer in an alliance with Christy, she might keep Christy around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just think she's gullible.
Yeah. And she might get annoyed. If she's been in alliance with Christy and Christy's bossing her around, she might be over it.
I could totally see that, because Molly, remember the knitting project all went sideways because Molly couldn't get along with people and got upset about people taking her idea and stuff. I think Nancy might be able to flip Molly. Nancy's pretty shrewd with people.
She is.
And if she's got Josefina on her side too, Josefina, we said, is a really good listener. So she might be willing to make Molly feel, if Molly's complaining about everything, make Molly feel heard. And that would entice her as well.
Yeah, I like it. I think age gives Nancy a leg up here. And Anne's really good with kids. So I could see her helping with that somehow, understanding what's making Molly tick.
So the question is, are they going to go for Kirsten or Christy?
Oh, I think they get Christy out.
Even though Christy's the strength? Are they ready to get rid of the threat, or do they want to keep winning or start winning?
That's a good question.
I mean, how much strength does a 12-year-old have?
Well, more than a 9-year-old, right?
Should we just have aged them all up to 25?
Maybe.
I think I was thinking we were doing that at first, but I actually kind of like it better.
I think I do too, because it's a big part of the dynamics.
It kind of reminds me of Hunger Games. Hunger Games, they definitely had a range of ages.
That's true. They did.
Okay, I think Nancy flips Molly.
Nancy flips Molly and goes for Kirsten?
I mean, she could to get the weak link out, but do they think that Christy is either cunning enough to then somehow reverse that flip, or do they think that Christy's going to stop working for the tribe if she's in her feelings about her alliance falling apart, which I think is possible because Christy does hold a grudge.
Same. And if she's out, is she on jury?
Not yet, right?
Not yet. Oh,
not yet.
Okay. So then I feel like the strategic one would be Christy.
I think so too.
Okay. Christy's out. All the big hitters are gone. We are back to evenly matched tribes. Not one clear dominating, which is exciting. All right. We have 10 left. We're in week 5. This is based on Survivor 17. The challenge is for a reward of a pastry bar. Again, another motivator for Claudia there.
Claudia is all in on this challenge.
Claudia's locked in.
Claudia has never worked this hard in her life.
Yeah, we didn't put Stacy on this.
Diabetes.
Oh no. I mean,
Claudia will totally, if she wins, be like, this is for you, Stacy.
I was going to say, do they have confessionals?
They do. All right. So this is your classic Survivor endurance challenge, team endurance. So each tribe is going to be tethered to a 20-foot, 200-pound cloth snake. So it's kind of like they wear it over their heads or hold on to it. Depends on how it's constructed. But they kind of hold on to this giant snake. They have to walk in an oval, just on and on and on, running counterclockwise around the course and carrying this snake. And basically the idea is don't catch up to one another and also keep going. As people get tired out, they can unhook themselves, which in one hand, they're not slowing down the rest of the group. But on the other hand, like the people left have to keep carrying more weight, like this 200-pound object. So it's kind of a catch-22 there of how you're going to help your tribe best. The first tribe to catch the other tribe and touch one of the opposing tribe members wins. So who do we think is going to be better at this kind of strength endurance challenge?
This is going to be very tough, though, for Team Mattel because I guess there's 3 on this side, too. But like Katniss they talk frequently in the book that she is pretty small. Like she's not a large person because they haven't eaten well. And then the 3 9-year-olds are going to be pretty small. 200 pounds is going to be a lot for that group to carry.
That's probably like at least 3 of them combined. Like that's maybe being a little dramatic, but like
no,
still.
that's probably about right. Like I bet none of those 9-year-olds are 100 pounds, and Katniss is probably just barely, if that, because she's little. So, and I don't know that Claudia's like super strong.
I feel
she
like
just wants that pastry.
I feel like they're gonna try to all hold on, but they're gonna struggle.
Yeah. It's going to be whether the Pleasant tribe can work together. And I don't know. Kirsten and Molly are both a little bit, maybe not the best at
I don't think Molly's going
teamwork.
to tough it out very long.
I think she's going to be first to go.
Oh, she's going to bail for sure.
Are we saying that the Pleasant tribe is not pleasant?
I
think they've gotten rid of Christy, so I don't think that there's that
gonna
many.
fight.
Yeah. Like I think at this point, it's a pretty solid team. I just don't know if they all have the stamina. I feel like Nancy does, and I don't know.
I mean, Anne should have good stamina, I think. She's walked everywhere like her entire life. She helps Matthew on the farm with the cows and stuff.
Oh, that's true.
They talk about how she's wiry strong. Like she's been schlepping babies around since she was a baby herself.
I mean, the question is, how is Pleasant Tribe eating, and how is that affecting their stamina at this
They
point?
have a fishing kit, so that could help them.
Do they know how to fish?
I feel like maybe Josefina could be helpful with that.
Well, Josefina has definitely like got good foraging skills because she learned like how to identify plants and stuff from her Tia, right?
In this locale.
You know, Felicity might have good endurance because horseback riding requires a lot of leg strength.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be neck and neck.
I think so too.
But I think that ultimately, maybe Mattel.
I think it's ultimately they're going to give up
Addie
sooner.
should have great stamina though too, because she's been working since she was old enough to walk. Like she's been working hard labor in fields.
Yeah. I think it's going to be the mental, not the physical.
Well, okay, but how many of them have like upper body strength versus just they walk or like they're good on their feet?
Probably just Katniss and Addie on that side. Maybe Cassie. I don't know. The other side, upper body strength, Nancy and Anne. Probably not the rest.
Not Josefina either.
Well, she hasn't been like schlepping a bunch of stuff, you know, like she's used to being outdoors, but she hasn't been working the farm or anything like that.
Okay, I can see the case for Pleasant.
I think this one's going to be really close. I ultimately think it's Mattel.
I think it's going to be Mattel.
Because I think Molly's going to quit when it gets hard. Because she kind of does that. I think
even
Kirsten
with the pep
could
talk.
easily do something incorrectly that sets them back. There is also still the language barrier issue on the Pleasant side. Because Kirsten's English is not perfect at this point, right?
Oh, I did not even think about barrier. And Josefina.
And Josefina is also going to be.
But you don't need language for this challenge.
Well, but to communicate with your team, like, or to like hype them up if they're starting to flag, or to yell at Molly when she tries to quit.
And Anne's going to be using the most complicated flowery words ever.
Anne will be talking the whole time.
Yeah. They might have learned English just from hearing Anne talking by the end of the season, but they're going to speak like a heroine in a romantic novel.
I may go Mattel on this one. What do y'all think?
I think it's going to be Mattel.
I like the way Mattel sounds.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go
Mattel wins. So that means Pleasant is once again headed to
Tough stuff.
Tribal Council. Remember, Josefina has her idol.
They've got to be getting rid of Molly this time, right?
Finally.
I think so.
I think she's more dead weight than Kirsten
Yeah,
is.
I think because Molly, I feel like, sorry, I'm so far from the mic. I feel like Molly would be the one who would have dropped the snake first, and they just would have been like, "Oh, we're done with you."
Yeah, well, and I think she's going to have been complaining and complaining and complaining this whole time.
She'll
And
probably vote
Kirsten, at
herself
least,
off.
is probably just happy to be there.
Can they vote for themselves?
I want to
No, they're not allowed.
Like, I'm ready to go home.
But there have been times where people have just like said, like, I just want to go home. And then Jeff gets really mad at them and gives a speech about quitters and then like does a live vote to shame them. And then they all go home.
Hey, maybe that'll happen.
That could
So
totally
that Molly
happen.
doesn't have any ill feelings toward the other members. She just has ill feelings towards Jeff.
So we think Molly's out?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it's just
I
a matter
agree.
of like in what way. Because I could also see like Nancy and Anne and Josefina like sitting her down and
Yeah,
just having
Molly,
this
we're
like,
just concerned for you. We can tell
Yeah.
you don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, I think that this won't be a surprise, even though they'll edit it to seem like Molly didn't know it was coming.
So I could at this point see Molly having like really offended Josefina or Anne by like wanting to play a fun game of orphans or something because she's super insensitive. Actually, that would offend Nancy too
Like
with her mom
playing
Oh my
Texas or playing war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Molly's
Molly's
a
probably,
goner.
yeah, her time has come.
Didn't Molly do that in the books? I'm trying to remember.
She played Bomb Shelter.
Yeah, Bomb
Yes.
Shelter with Emily,
Yeah,
the,
with the
British
refugee
girl.
from war.
God, that was real
Oh
bad,
no,
Molly.
Molly.
All right, we are powering through this. We've made some tough decisions. We're in week 6. This is based on an early season of Survivor season 5 in Thailand. Before we get to our challenge, there's some bonus drama here. Someone forgot to tie up the tribe's canoe from the Mattel tribe.
It was probably Molly.
The boat has
But
drifted
she's not on
away.
that tribe.
They're still
Oh,
going to blame
snap.
her.
Yeah, we all thought it was going to be Kirsten, but she didn't have a canoe to lose. So
Yeah.
She would set it on fire.
the
It would
boat
be
has drifted
Claudia.
away
Yeah, it
and
would be
no one
Claudia.
can get out to catch fish. So everyone is pretty mad. So who lost the boat, and does everyone know that this person was the one who lost
It was definitely Claudia, and she got distracted by something.
Yeah.
And I think that they all know it's Claudia.
Oh, yeah.
I think like they probably like assigned it to her, and she just was like,
Yeah.
I don't
"Yikes."
even think Claudia could keep it a secret. I think she would just be like making a bunch of excuses and trying to blame somebody else.
Yeah.
for it.
So how is everyone reacting to this?
Wait, in any of the books that we've read, has someone talked about being good at nodding?
The Jacob Have I Loved.
Oh,
but
okay.
She's not in this.
Okay.
That would have been a good
Oh.
one.
Yeah, she would have been probably very good at that.
Molly may have made some knots or something at camp. I don't remember, but I don't think anybody that's left on the Mattel side is.
Okay.
Well, Katniss knows because she did it at the stations.
Right.
All right, yeah.
She
My
would've
vote
never
is
lost
definitely
the vote.
Claudia.
Katniss would be like, I never would have made this mistake. This is
Yeah.
why we don't let you do things. This is why I'm the leader.
She's like, this is how you die in the arena. Children.
All right. So Claudia did it. Everyone's pretty annoyed at her. it
Yeah.
sounds like. All right. So the challenge this week is for a Thai feast and immunity. And this is like a game of strategy. So there's 21 flags placed in a circle. Alternating turns, the tribes can gather 1, 2, or 3 flags at a time. So it's kind of like chess. Or what's that game? There's another game this is kind of based on. But the goal is to be the tribe to get the last remaining flag, and the tribe that gets that flag wins immunity. So you have to be strategic about how many you're going to
It's going to be
one time.
pleasant, I would think, for sure. Like, this is very much Nancy and Anne's kind of
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
thing. And I don't see anybody on the other side where that's really their deal. Okay, so Pleasant wins this one.
Clear domination by
Yeah.
Pleasant. It's like embarrassing. Mattel doesn't even know what happened. They're just getting 3 the whole time, thinking that'll work. And
Claudia is just arguing still about the boat.
yeah, the math is not mathing. Okay.
I know, I forgot Claudia's bad at math too. We have a lot of problems on that team. Katniss is uneducated. Addie's uneducated. Claudia's terrible at math. Felicity's only learned about tea.
All right. So
limited utility in the setting.
It's all Cassie.
So Mattel is going to tribal council, and everyone remembers very angry at Claudia for losing the boat. So are there any idols played? Is Katniss going to play her idol, or is she feeling secure?
She doesn't need to.
Yeah, she's feeling good. Who gets voted out?
Claudia.
They're probably like, that was a huge mistake.
It's hard to come back from losing the canoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she hasn't really been helping them in
everyone else is going to get along too. Like, I don't see there being a lot of friction between the other four. So
she probably was also weird during all the pastry. We didn't talk about the pastry bar reward, but she probably was weird about it and probably did sneak some food back in a way that people didn't like, or she talked about it a lot. Like, people don't
she
like
just made everyone
when
hungry
you talk
by
about
constantly talking about the pastry. Yeah.
Like, we get it. We're all hungry.
Was this pastry bar large enough for everyone, or was this a single, like a
it's
single
usually
person?
an absurd number of items that like they can't possibly eat, or they all eat so much that they get sick and then they regret it.
Oh, so like a pastry bar, like it's a bar.
A bar, like a buffet bar.
I was imagining like
an individual pastry bar.
You have to cut into like a sliver. Like, you get like a finger, like a pinky finger worth of like pastry, and
Like
I'm like,
a lemon
that's
square.
a pretty crappy prize for all this work that you're doing.
All right, so Claudia's going home. How's she reacting? What's she saying in her
Fine,
end
I didn't
speech?
want to play this game anyway. Like, yeah, she'll just be.
I'm going to go home and eat some real food.
Yeah, totally.
All right, guys. Well, good news. It is week 7. It is time to merge our tribes.
Tune in next week for the exciting conclusion.
Well, that's it for this episode of These Books Made Me. Join us next season when we'll discuss books. If you think we know which books we're tackling next season, follow us on Instagram. We're at These Books Made Me, and drop a comment on our Guess Our Next Season post. If you think we totally botched this season of Survivor, let us know on our Instagram.
If you think there's another reality show we should drop these characters into, also let us know that.
These are children. We're not doing Love Island.